Hey guys, what's up? It is Ripe again, back with more revenge stories. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our awesome community. And without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one starts like this. My coworker sometimes throws out her lunch in the garbage can at my desk instead of her own, because she claims she cannot stand the smell of old ketchup that's been sitting out for a couple of hours. I have asked her several times to stop, but she will then just wait until I get up to go to the bathroom and do it, and hide my garbage can under my desk so she thinks I won't see it. Every time she does it, I wait until she goes to the bathroom, take out the little plastic container that she had ketchup in, and put it away in the back of her bottom desk drawer. There is 6 in there now, the oldest is over a month old. So far she has not noticed the smell, gonna keep doing it and see how long it takes her to notice. Edit, I am adding some additional details. I have taught her everything she knows at this job, but she is a moron and she always tries to get other people to do her work for her. Sometimes I'm not sure if the stupidity is an act and she is secretly a genius for getting other people to give her answers, but then she will say something ridiculously stupid that is non-work related that removes all doubt. Literally nobody in the office likes her, and a couple of our co-workers know that I'm doing the ketchup thing and fully approve. They were shocked when she threw her lunch away in my garbage the first time. Basically, we all want her to be fired or quit, but it is unlikely. Clarification, she gets french fries in the work cafeteria and there's a big ketchup dispenser thing and we get little plastic cups to put the ketchup in. There is lids available but she doesn't use them. She fills up the cup with way more ketchup than she needs, so there's always left over. I would say maybe a tablespoon full. And the next one, when I rented, the parking lot was assigned parking. My wife and I both had cars, so I had to pay extra for the extra spot. The first one was complimentary. We come home around 1 AM and some idiot is parked in my spot. Not having it and not wanted to deal with an overnight parking ban on the street, I park behind him perpendicularly to block him in my spot. My neighboring spot was my caretaker's, who was the chillest guy I've ever rented from. I shot him a text explaining and to call me if he needed out before me in the morning. He laughed and said all was good. After about an hour of watching TV, I go out for a smoke. I notice this guy's car is running. I watch him frantically at 2 AM looking around for whose car it is. He sees me and starts complaining about it, not knowing it's mine. Says he just wants to go home and doesn't understand why some people gotta be such a-holes. I tell him maybe the owner of the car was mad because you were in his spot. Told him some people pay extra monthly for another spot. He gives up and goes back into his buddy's unit. I go inside and go to bed. I come out in the morning to go out for a bit and the guy is sitting on his buddy's doorstep. I wave and get in my car and leave. Made that a-hole sit trapped all night till 9 AM. The look on his face as I entered my car was priceless. And guys, I really don't know what it is about parking spot revenge that makes these stories so damn satisfying, but either way I really enjoy them. Anyway, the next one. An uncle of mine was a serious drug addict and an all-around a-hole. When I was a kid, it was pretty common for him to steal from my grandparents, including a lot of things they intended to give me when I was older. A coin collection, things like that. There is a long list of things he did over the course of my life to piss me off, but I would skip to the petty revenge. I was browsing the local county website and noticed there was a section for active warrants. I wondered if any familiar names were listed, so I browsed it and to my complete lack of surprise, I saw my uncle's name listed for something minor. And then I saw the Crime Stoppers number at the top of the page. I knew where he was living at the time and it was anonymous, so what the hell? I called, described him and told them where he was. They gave me a reference number and told me to call back in 2 weeks. For the sake of being thorough, I called a relative from the other side of the family who, funny enough, was not only a cop but also in charge of following up on these things. I told him the situation and he said he would prioritize it. 2 weeks later I call Crime Stoppers for an update and they said the tip did indeed lead to an arrest and asked which post office I preferred. I was confused but I named one. They gave me an alias, told me to give that name to the clerk and there would be a general delivery envelope with $200 cash inside. That part was unexpected but a sweet bonus for sure. The easiest $200 I ever made. And Ripe Stars, if you enjoy the revenge stories and especially the petty revenge ones, please don't forget to let me know in the comments and also post some star emojis if you want to support the channel. Thank you very much in advance. And the next one, had someone park in my assigned covered space at midnight on a Saturday. This happened more than once. One time I called the management to have them towed. Management tells me they don't tow anymore because the management would have to pay because it was private property, so tough situation. I parked behind them and blocked them in. There was a block wall in front. I left the neighbors each a note on their door, letting them know if they needed to leave, knock on my door. At 10 AM, frantic pounding on my door, me in PJs, some girl hysterical that she had to go to work and was going to lose her job. I asked her if she knew it was reserved parking and she said yes, it was midnight and there was no other parking spaces and she didn't want to street park and walk because it was not safe. I asked her why she was okay with making me park on the street and walk after midnight. She told me she was going to have me towed. I laughed and went back to bed. Management calls to tell me I am blocking someone in and if I don't move they will have me towed. I relate conversation from middle of the night, the tough situation part, and tell them if they tow me instead of the violator in my spot, I'm going to sue them for failing to enforce the rules. As well as endangering my safety because the reason I parked that way was because it was after midnight and everyone knows it is not safe to park on the street and walk. I offer to wait for the tow truck and then move so they can tow the parking violator. The management tells the girl, tough shit. She is back pounding on my door and screaming. People are now calling management about the lunatic trying to break into someone's apartment. The guy she banged the night before shows up to my door. The girl is at the bottom of the stairs crying so hard she has the hiccups. The guy apologizes profusely, said he didn't know she parked in my spot and the management was threatening to evict him. He had other run-ins. He apologized again and offered me money for my trouble. I told him that was not necessary, I was just waiting for the girl to apologize. He nodded, went downstairs, yelled at her and pointed up to me. She came upstairs and apologized and I moved my car. And the next one is a really nice HOA story. It is titled, I don't care what you are, you cannot park in my spot. I'm a paramedic in a place that has some HOAs and apartment complexes. We hate responding to the apartment complexes because there is nothing but assigned parking and no fire zones. Basically, if we cannot find a space to fit in, we have to block the road. My agency also uses first responder vehicles and ambulances. The first responder, as implied, usually arrives first, so we do our best to leave room for the ambulance to fit in. We get a call at the apartment complex I am in, the first responder. As I pull up to the address by some miracle, there is a spot only 2 apartments away. Great, I can leave the road clear for the ambulance. As soon as I park, out comes this guy, screaming I cannot park there. I do the, are you serious? Look and just say medical emergency. He says he does not care, I cannot park there. Keep in mind my vehicle has enough lights to make a Christmas tree jealous. I just grab my stuff, lock the vehicle and keep going. He is screaming he's going to call the cops. I tell him they are already on the way. They respond to medical emergencies. The cop gets there while I am in with the patient and tells him basically to pound salt. The cop enters the apartment and then this guy really goes full blown entitled. He enters the apartment, comes into the room where I am treating the patient. He starts ranting and raving how I have to move my vehicle. I look at the cop and say, get him out of here. The cop then seals his fate. She asks the patient if she wants this person removed from the apartment and did she ever give consent for him to enter. The patient's response, get him the F out, he's trespassing. Boom, the all clear. The cop gives him one last chance and tells him to leave or he will be arrested. He doubles down, I'm on the HOA board, I can go where I please. At this point backup is called, the cop at least manhandles him out of the room. The ambulance arrives with PD backup and they get him out of the apartment so we can safely remove the patient. Not entirely sure what happened next as I was in the back of the ambulance, but when I got out one of the officers approaches and says, sorry, but we need another bus, we had to tase him. Policy for PD is if they tase someone they have to be transported to the hospital via an ambulance as the taser spikes have to be surgically removed due to the barbs on them. Wait for the second ambulance, they take him, I go back in service. Found out a few weeks later he was charged with trespassing, assaulting an officer, resisting arrest, interference with government administration, aka interfering with the scene of an emergency, all over a parking space that I would have been in for all of 20 minutes if he had not created problems. I can only assume he took a plea deal as I was never called to testify. And the next one, my mother-in-law has a habit of showing up a day earlier than agreed upon. We've had to cancel plans because of her shenanigans. When our kids were younger, one day my husband made plans with mother-in-law and told her repeatedly that he and I were busy the day before. 2 days before the agreed visit, she messages saying she's excited to see us tomorrow. But hubby reminds her Saturday, we are busy tomorrow. Anyway, Friday happens, hubby goes to a work event and is unable to be contacted most of the day. My plans are cancelled due to one of the kids throwing up. Nap time rolls around, I settle the kids down and go to enjoy some quiet internet time when there's a knock at the door. We don't open the lounge blinds a lot because of nosy apartment neighbors, so I was safe from sight. I checked the peephole in case it was the postie, but nah, mother-in-law in all her annoying glory. I silently deadbolt the door, sneaked to the back door and checked the locks. Then I snuggled into my bed with my kids to keep them calm in case the knocking woke them up. I checked the peephole after an hour and saw her sulking on the front step, clearly trying to reach hubby in the phone. Except I had messaged him, "Your mom is here, I'm ignoring her," so he knew why she was calling and ignored her completely. She finally left just before the kids woke up from their nap. The next day when she arrived, she asked what I did the day before and I said nothing, I was home all day. And I gotta say guys, it has been quite a while since we have read any story about crazy mother-in-laws, but I would once again really like to encourage you, if you have any interesting stories about your own mother-in-law, please feel free to share it either in the comments or on r/ripe stories on Reddit. This is our own subreddit and you can post your own story there, and if it is a nice one, I can read it in a video if you want. In addition guys, if you don't want to go on Reddit, there is another possibility. You can go on the About page of my channel, and if you scroll down you will find my business email and you can send your mother-in-law story to my email. Thank you very much in advance. Anyway, the next one starts like this. So I've written here about my landlady's insane daughter once before, but she is back from college again for the summer and just as crazy as ever. Among other things, this girl literally throws fits of screaming and crying at all hours of the day and night, slams doors constantly for no reason, and refuses to speak at a volume quieter than a yell. She also never wears headphones when listening to anything. Our rooms are on opposite ends of the house, so when she's in her room, I don't care. However, my room is unfortunately right off of the dining room and she likes to set up shop at the dining room table, blasting music or whatever trash show she is binging. If she were a reasonable person, I would just ask nicely for her to turn the volume down, but since she is not a reasonable person and such requests are often met with intentional stomping around at 3 AM, when she knows I have to be up at 5 AM for work, I have to get creative with making her shut the hell up. Last night I got home from a 9-hour shift at work, exhausted, and retreated to my room to have a snack and get some sleep. I was not in my room 10 minutes before the demon set up shop at the dining room table. I don't know what show she was watching, but all I could hear was mumbled dialogue and then the world's most annoying laugh track after what seemed like every other sentence. It was 11 at night, I was tired, hungry and now pissed off. So I booted up my laptop, went into my Netflix queue and picked one of my favorite episodes of Call the Midwife. Cranked my volume up and not long after the opening credits came the screams of a woman giving birth. I left the episode running while I had my snack and got ready for bed. And wouldn't you know, by the time I was ready to sleep and turned the show off, I was met with complete silence from the dining room. And the next one, when I was about 10 years old, I lived in the depth of North St. Paul, MN. We used to ride our crappy bikes with friends all over the place. One day we were pedaling down this back alley behind all the main street businesses. Generally zero traffic on a road like this, but that day this huge brand new extended cab pickup comes flying out of nowhere, barreling down on us and honking. The guy is yelling swears out the window and everything as we pedal out of the way onto the sides. He stomps the gas and speeds off, and not a block later pulls into the back of some buildings' lots. We eventually pedal our way up there and see his truck parked by a loading dock with no one in sight. Collectively, we all hated the person for how he treated us, and our brain gears were spinning on the possibilities of revenge. At that moment, one of the tag-alongs of our group announces that he has to take a really bad crap. Light bulbs go off above all of our heads except his. There is a dumpster nearby and a newspaper on the ground next to it. With very little convincing, he does the deed neatly on the paper. A massive 9-inch lock that would have been impressive outright if not for the horrible stench with visible stink lines hovering around it. The group of us talk him into the next phase of the plan, with all of us as lookouts to ensure his absolute safety, despite everyone on their bikes ready to book it at the drop of the turd itself. He climbs on the hood of the pickup truck with one hand holding the newspaper and the other slowly pawing forward for grip until he reached the windshield. Then on 2 knees and double-handing the underside of the newspaper, he splats it on the windshield and swipes in a big arc across. It was as if the truck had a single wiper for the entire windshield and left a perfect 9-inch wave from one side to the other. The turret itself was only half used up in the process and sat angrily on the other side from where he started. At that moment, someone yells, "Run!" and we all scramble out of the backlot and down the road, pedaling on back trails near freeway frontage roads and the like. We left no trace for us to be found. An hour later, we doubled back following these trails and enjoying the little jumps and tree roots as amateur biker kids do, and came across another group of kids on bikes. Man, did they have a story to tell about a huge angry red-faced man driving all over the neighborhood looking for a group of kids on bikes. It's been about 30 years and I still laugh at the memory, but I also hold the lesson close to heart about not treating kids like crap for no reason. They'll get back at you if they can. And Ripe stars, unfortunately we have already reached the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed the content. However, if you cannot wait for more Ripe content, then I suggest you head on over to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where you can find more exclusive Reddit content read by me. Patreon subscriptions start at just $1 per month, and for $1 your name will show up at the end of each of my new videos. However, if you are willing to spend $3 per month, you will get access to more than 50 exclusive Reddit videos, mostly just no mother-in-law stories. However, please understand, I don't want to pressure anyone into spending money, because I am already incredibly grateful that you watch my videos every single day. Thank you so much for your daily support, it really means the world to me, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for the next video.